All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first distance learning assignment. So, what I have set up to get myself started is some blank white paper. You will notice it is the back of a worksheet. It does not need to be brand new computer paper. We're just going to take a picture of this. So it's okay if you're using the back of a worksheet, but please don't use lined paper. For what I'm thinking we're going to do with this assignment next, it's going to be easier if it's just white paper behind what you're working on. If you have clean computer paper, that would be ideal. If you don't, that's fine. Use the back of one of your other class's worksheets that you should have at home somewhere. You also need to find the silhouette for whatever object you are doing. You can choose to do whatever object you want. You can also do whatever word you want in it. I'm kind of thinking about this, kind of thinking where we are stuck, is I'm thinking about like what item to me is very important to get me through this quarantine. For me, since I'm a seamstress, I like sewing and sewing really comforts me. So I'm going to do a sewing machine silhouette. So all I did was go to my phone and I did sewing machine silhouette and I did a Google image search and I'm looking at all these different ones. I'm not going to copy any of them. I am just going to look at them and get some inspiration. If you've got the actual object, like you're doing your cell phone or you're doing something that you have the actual object of that's easy to sit in front of you, you can do that too. I would say to try not to do like a cell phone unless you got to be really creative with a cell phone. Because it's a square. You want something that has a silhouette that kind of goes in and out. That's going to make it a little bit more interesting to draw. So, I've got that sitting next to me so I can see it. And then I'm going to start. So I'm going to start by in pencil, and this is a mechanical pencil because that's what I happen to have around the house. You can use whatever kind of pencil you've got. You want something that's erasable though. I'm going to start by lightly, because all of this silhouette's eventually going to get erased, drawing the silhouette of my item. Then, once my silhouette is done, and I kind of kept it kind of simple. I mean, I could add more to it, but I think that kind of gives the idea. Maybe it just needs this part here coming down. Then I'm going to pick the word. Now, you could just do sewing machine. So I could do, if I think about that, I'm going to write it up here. I could do sewing machine. I could do just sewing. And for me, the other thing I was thinking about maybe doing, let's scoot this down a little bit, is the word comfort. Because my sewing machine gives me comfort. You could do something, like if you're doing something like a way that you communicate, you could do an app image and do something like communicate or talk or all sorts. I'm kind of trying to give you some ideas. Because of the shape of my sewing machine and that it's a pretty big silhouette, I might actually want to go with this one. I'm going to try this one first though. So what you want to do is find the middle of the word. So this is 3 and 3. So I would kind of find the middle of my object and then kind of create. So if I do the I here, and then I could do so what you want to do is leave as little space between your letters as possible. Oh no, I need a better eraser. And then I'm thinking this could be my G could come all the way out here. You want very little space in between your letters. Maybe I don't like that. This font's kind of blocky, so I want my letter to be blocky. And then this would be where the W goes. So you could see how I'm working from the middle to my edges. I could also say, well, if I need to fit the S, so maybe the S comes here and I get the S in there first. That way I know what space my E needs to fit. I would not suggest So see, there we go. I got my sewing. I would not suggest starting at one end and working your way around. You're probably going to end up doing more erasing that way. You kind of want to jump around and get like kind of the ends, start at the middle, get the ends, so that you make sure your letters are evenly spaced. Now that I have drawn all that, now I want you to go over it with your final lines. And I did not remember to bring my good eraser to this demo, because you're going to do your final lines nice and dark. And then you're going to erase all the other spaces. So you're going to erase the rest of your silhouette line so that all you see, and maybe this S has got to have that shape into it. Maybe I do that. I need a better eraser. So take a good eraser or just work really, really lightly. And then you want to go back over your font, nice and heavy and dark. This is where you can also make sure your lines are going all the way to the edge of your silhouette. And then you can go in and erase those edges. So that's what I want you to do this week. Do this nice and neat. Take your cell phone. And just like I have right now, I'm doing this on my iPad. So I've got my iPad kind of set flat above my image so that there's no shadows really. And so that the image is nice and flat and not tilted. So don't take your cell phone and try to take a picture like this. You want to make sure your cell phone is nice and flat above it. So I will lift this up so you can see that. So see how that's nice and flat above it. So that your image is nice and flat, and then submit that image. Just your drawing. If you really want to and you have a nice marker, you can go around the outside edge in marker. But this is the only thing that is due this week. This should not take you about, this assignment as in total should take you about 30 minutes. So just do this. Remember, you do not have to do the object itself. You could do a word or series of words that tell you about it. So I could do the same thing with comfort. So take your time, get one word, silhouette.